All right, well, babe, we are about to start episode 3. Are you ready?
That can't be right.
Yeah, we've got our notes, the equipment set up. It's time.
I don't believe you.
What are you doing?
I mean, we're talking about truth today, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm questioning everything you say, and I'm just trying to see if you're telling a lie.
You're ridiculous.
Maybe. Are you ready?
Yes, let's do this.
Well, I am looking forward to our topic today.
Yeah, how do I know what's true?
Right. Well, how do you?
Well, we'll get to that. But first, I was hoping we could talk about what we did over the weekend.
Oh, right. Yeah. I mean, we had a great weekend. We
Yeah.
did a bunch of stuff. Let's see. We went to the movies.
Yep.
We went to church. We went to a really good Super Bowl party.
Yep.
We had a killer FaceTime with our out of town kids, some of our out of town kids and their kids, our grandkids,
Yep.
grandkids. We had some face-to-face time with some of our in-town kids and our grandson. So which one do you want to talk about?
Actually, one that you didn't mention. I was hoping we could talk about Zoolumination.
We did go to Zoolumination.
How have we lived here all this time and we've never been to Zoolumination? I love the zoo.
I mean, it was fun, and I'm not sure how we never got there before. But in case our audience doesn't know, maybe you could describe what is Zoolumination besides a really cool word to say.
It is actually fun if you want to try it. Zoolumination. Zoolumination is the country's largest Chinese lantern festival, and it was right here in Nashville. They did it from November 14th through February 9th, so we got in at the last few days of it. It was so fun. They have, in addition to over 1,000 lanterns, they also had like a North Pole village. They had an ice skating rink. It was sponsored by the Nashville Predators. They had, of course, it's dark, so you don't have all the animals out. I think they advertised that some of the animals would stay out until about 8:30. So we did get to see a few. We saw the flamingos. We saw the tiger. What was
The okapi,
yes?
which is a type of antelope from Africa.
And was there one more? I'm drawing a blank.
No, they said the Andean bears might be out, but we didn't see them.
We didn't see them.
So you should be seeing pictures of
Zoolumination.
the Chinese lantern part, which when you say lantern, I mean, you're looking at it, but some of them were animal shaped, some of them were flowers, and some of them were look like lit up umbrellas in the sky that you walk under that were dragons. I mean, it was really fun. If you saw the picture of the chameleon, I didn't have a video of that, but it actually changed colors. Most of them didn't change colors, but the chameleon did. That was fun. But yeah, it was, I mean, we went at night, of course, and it was all lit up, and I had heard of it and thought it sounded kind of fun, but kind of cheesy. And I liked it. It
was beautiful.
The lights came off really, really well in person. It was fun.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it won the week's award for best Chinese festival in the area.
Best illuminated Chinese festival.
Best illuminated Chinese festival lantern
in the area.
Festival.
Right.
For the week.
We should get a plaque.
With all those words. All right. Well, it really was fun. It was a good time.
It was fun. So how do I know what's true? And what we like to do is start with the basics, lay a foundation, and go from there.
Well, let's go back to our trusty, faithful 1963 World Book Encyclopedia Dictionary.
My favorite.
Which says the truth. We looked up the definition of truth. And it says that which is in accordance with the facts. The second definition is the fact or facts, matter or circumstance as it really is.
Yeah.
And then the third definition, a fixed or established principle, a law, like a proven doctrine, a verified hypothesis.
Yep.
And that's another fun word, hypothesis.
Yep.
And
Science class.
yeah, in science class, you would have to think of a hypothesis, something you assumed that it might be true, but then you had to actually prove it to be
Right.
true or false. So
Right.
those are the definitions for truth.
Yeah. Well, that was most of them. There was one more, which is that which is true, which I always hate when they use a form of the word to define the word.
Right?
But the rest of that fourth definition was real or actual reality.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're not going to get real political here, but it's interesting in today's society. You have people on one side saying what we're saying is true and you're a liar, and then you have people on the other side saying something that the two things are mutually exclusive. They can't both be true, saying what we're saying is true and you're a liar. And so how do you know what's true? And some of it you can research and you can prove, and some of it's a little harder to do that. But some people are also claiming that truth is kind of, you can have your truth and I can have my truth, and our truths don't have to match up. And if you're talking about what's your favorite color, that's not really a matter of truth in the first place, but that's pretty subjective. There are a lot of things that are a lot more objective, and people are trying to get away with different definitions of what's true.
Right.
And that's why I like these definitions from the 1963 dictionary, where it talks about the facts, what really is a verified hypothesis, not just a hypothesis, but it's got to be verified to be true. And then that fourth definition, what is real or actual? And I have a little thing I like to say: the truth is the actual factuals.
I like that.
Yeah, the things that you can back up, that you can prove. So I have a book. My dad had mentioned it years ago, and for some reason him telling me about it kind of stuck in my head. And a few months ago I got a copy of it because I wanted to kind of research this. It was written in 1960 by Dr. Fred Schwartz, and of course that was the Cold War, and everything communism was bad. But he wrote a book called "You Can Trust the Communists to Be Communist." In other words, that's all you can trust them to be, is true to what they are. And then the book is about, well, what are they really? And so as I'm reading through this, just think about the truth definitions that we just talked about, and contrast that with what's in this book by Dr. Schwartz. I did abbreviate it. I edited it for brevity. I didn't change the meaning of any of it. So if you do get the book and look this up, it's not word for word, but it's thought for sure. It says this: the communists invariably tell the, quote, truth, but it is the Marxist-Leninist truth. Those who believe that the communists will lie in the interest of communism are mistaken. In fact, it is not possible for a communist to lie in the interests of communism. By definition, if a statement is in the interests of communism, it is the truth. He goes on to say, Christians believe that God is truth. An absolute God created an absolute truth. The communists affirm that this is nonsense. There is no God. There are no absolutes. Everything is relative. Truth itself is a relative of the class struggle. So a little more information on that if you're not super aware of communism and what all is going on there. One of the hallmarks of communism is you have to have a class struggle. In other words, you have to have class warfare. You gotta make sure that the poor people hate the rich people and the rich people hate the poor people, and that's just part of it. And so when he says truth itself is a relative of the class struggle, that's what he's talking about. He goes on to say truth is a weapon of the class war, and any statement that advances communism conquest, any statement that advances communism conquest is, quote, true. So if I could just summarize that whole thing in one sentence, it would be basically this: from the communist perspective, whatever gets me what I want, that's true. That's truth. And so it's very subjective to the point where their moral code is just completely different. And they truly believe anything they say that gets them what they want is true. And if someone says, you're lying to me, they'll be very indignant and believe in their mind, if you can grasp this,
it's not a lie.
That thing that they just made up really is true as much as anything else is true. So that's pretty scary. And so when we're talking about what is true, we believe that truth are the actual factuals. They're the things you can verify. They're the things that line up with what's actually happening. They're things that, 2 + 2 is 4. Well, how do you know? Well, because if you have this many and you add this many more and you put them together, it's this many. And if you're listening, not watching, I just put up 2 fingers and 2 fingers and you get 4 fingers. You're not going to get 3. You're not going to get 5. You're going to get 4. And it's one of the most basic truths in the world. And you can prove it.
I can verify that.
You can every single time. Every single time.
Sometimes in order to understand something better, you have to understand the opposite of what that is.
Yep.
So if we were going to examine the opposite of the truth, we're back to the 1963 dictionary. We looked up the definition for a lie, and it is a false statement known to be false by the person who makes it.
Right.
Or something intended to give a false impression. So my definition is a lie is when you know the truth and you intentionally tell something other than the truth.
Right.
Now, sometimes you make an honest mistake. Maybe you say something and it's not true, but you didn't know that.
You thought it was.
You thought it was the truth and you made a mistake. I wouldn't say that that was a lie, even though it was untrue. I think that now that you know it's the truth, is there anything that you need to do to clear that up with somebody, or did telling the honest mistake as the truth, did it cause any trouble?
Right.
You need to set things right. But if you did it unintentionally, then you just misspoke, or you made a mistake.
Made an honest mistake.
Yeah. I wouldn't say that is a lie. Sometimes people say, "Oh, I lied about that." No, that wasn't a lie. That you were just wrong.
If you didn't know it was a lie,
yeah,
then it's an honest mistake. It's maybe a little bit of a technical difference there, but just in the spirit of understanding definitions and understanding even the truth of a lie. Right. And I think it's good to say all that.
Yeah. There's a quote by Mark Twain. It says, "If you tell the truth, you don't have to remember anything." And I like that. Because, even if there have been a couple times people have tried to throw surprise parties, and, there's always a little bit of lying going on with, tell them we're going to do this, but actually we're going to do this.
Right.
My brain can't hardly do it. I'm so like trained to tell the truth, be honest, that I can't keep all the lies straight. I'm like, okay, are we going to no, we're not going to the restaurant. We're telling him we're going to the restaurant. I'm like, okay. How about just don't include me, because I can't keep it straight.
Right. If you tell the truth, you don't have to remember anything.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. Well, and also I will say, one of the things I remember about preschool, I don't know if you know this, but 4-year-olds can tend to tell little fibs and lie about things.
Yeah. And you were a preschool teacher for
9 years.
9 years. Yeah.
Nine happy years. A lot of fibbing going on in those 9 years. Not by me. But sometimes I would realize, okay, this child is lying, and they know they've been caught, and the eyes get big and they get a little scared. Like, they know what they've done is wrong. They just don't know how to get out of it.
Right.
And one of the things I found that worked really well is I would tell them, say, I'm gonna ask you to tell the truth. We're gonna count to 3. And on the count of 3, I want you to take a really big breath and just tell the truth, and tell it really fast. And so we would count together. 1, 2, 3. Yes, I actually did kick him. I didn't mean to. It was an accident. He took my toy, whatever it was. But I found that if they could just get the truth out fast, then they would be set free from the lie, because lies, they hold you hostage. So
Pull that Band-Aid off.
yeah, fast.
Well, I think maybe this would be a good time to play a game. What do you think?
I think I know what game you're talking about.
Yeah.
All right, you want to start or you want me to start?
Well, we're going to play 2 truths and a lie. Why don't you start?
What if they don't know what that is?
Oh, well, Hillary's going to tell 3. She's going to make 3 statements. 2 of them are true, and 1 of them is a lie. They're about her. I'm going to make 3 statements about myself. 2 of them are true. 1's a lie. And then after we give them, you listen to them. You think about which one you think is her lie, which one you think is my lie. And at the end of the episode, we'll reveal which ones were true and which one, the one lie for her and the 1 lie for me.
All right, here we go. Number 1. I grew up on a farm in Michigan. Number 2.
Okay.
I graduated 3rd in my class in high school.
If true, that's pretty good.
Thanks. And number 3. I have never been pulled over by a policeman.
If true, that's pretty irritating.
All right, those were my 2 truths and a lie. What are yours?
My first one is I have visited Paris, France, but I did not go to the Eiffel Tower.
If true, that is very sad.
Number 2, I was a lead singer and rhythm guitar player for a rock band in the 1980s.
If true, very cool.
And I had much more hair. If true.
If true.
Number 3, I'm going to go with I also graduated 3rd in my class in high school.
What? Did you just steal my truth or my lie? Which one did you? Okay. Couldn't even think of your 3rd thing. All right.
Well, I didn't want to have to remember.
Right.
We'll reveal the truths and the lies at the end of the episode. So hang with us.
All right. That was fun. All right. Well, we do believe that the Bible is a great source of truth. So we're going to see what it has to say about the subject. In John 14:6, Jesus said, I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me.
That's right. And, that makes me think of a story that I heard once, and I did some reading on this, and it seems to be true not only in the U.S., but in other countries as well. When the U.S. Treasury Department is trying to train, U.S. Treasury Department doesn't do it with other countries, but when someone is trying to train someone else to be able to identify a counterfeit bill,
Okay.
the way they do that is to spend almost all their time studying real money.
Not the counterfeit.
Right. So like in the U.S., the bills are made of like a cotton blend of paper. I'm not trying to memorize all that, but there is a very...
We're certainly not trying to print them in the garage.
Right. Yeah. Don't come look. Anyway, it's a very specific paper. And if you look at it close, it's got a certain texture. It's got little threads of different colors in it. There are strips inside the bill that are hard to get there. There are little, what are they called? Silhouettes of whoever's on the bill that saying a similar portrait is going to be, but you got to kind of hold it up to the light to look
like a hologram kind of, or a...
The hologram is different. And
Okay.
I think there's more of a hologram kind of thing on Canadian money. I went down a deep rabbit hole. It was a couple weeks ago, actually. So I'm having to try to remember all that. But anyway, the point is you spend time like picking it up, feeling it, getting used to the texture of the paper, looking at all the things, whatever each bill has. Mm-hmm. And interestingly, in U.S. currency, like the $20 bill, the $50 bill, the $100 bill, they don't all have the exact same features in the exact same places. So,
Okay.
some of them are specific to the denomination of the bill. And they study that, study it. And then what happens is counterfeit money is really hard to make and make it really convincing.
Don't I know it? I'm just kidding. We are not counterfeiters.
Yeah.
I just get in trouble being funny.
So when they come to the door, I'm sending you.
Okay.
But when someone who's been trained that way gets a piece of counterfeit money, they know pretty quickly this is counterfeit. How do you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I just picked it up. It doesn't feel right. Or it should have this, and this on that denomination of bill, and two of them are wrong, and it's pretty obvious. And the reason they know is because they spent all that time studying the true article, the real deal, the real money.
Yeah.
And so, when Jesus says, I am the way, the truth, and the life, Jesus is the truth. And so studying the teachings of Jesus gives you a much better understanding of truth. And the really cool thing about that is the better you understand Jesus and the better you know his teachings, the more you just kind of have like a radar for counterfeit truth. The more you can spot a lie, even if it doesn't have anything to do with Bible passages. You see what I'm saying? I mean, you're just getting to know the entity that is truth. And by default, you can spot a lie easier. It's kind of crazy and it's really super cool.
It is super cool. There's a passage in John chapter 18, verses 36 through 38. It's part of the story when Jesus went before Pilate before he was crucified. And this was part of that exchange. Jesus said, "My kingdom is not of this world. If it were, my servants would fight to prevent my arrest by the Jews. But now my kingdom is from another place." "You are a king then," said Pilate. Jesus answered, "You are right in saying I am a king. In fact, for this reason I was born, and for this I came into the world, to testify to the truth. Everyone on the side of truth listens to me."
That's so amazing.
I love that passage. And I love that he also says, in the passage you read, he didn't say, "I love the truth," or "I am truthful." He said, "I am the truth."
Yeah.
It's beautiful. I love it.
That's really good. Everyone on the side of truth listens to me. Well, I'm sure you can tell we have notes, and I've typed up the notes, and this is a longer passage I want to read, and I got a little lazy and I didn't want to type all this up, so I got to get my old man glasses out and read this. But what I'm going to do is we're looking at who is Jesus and what is truth, and let's contrast that with the devil. So in this passage, it's in John chapter 8. The Pharisees were always trying to trip up Jesus, ask him trap questions and give bogus accusations against him. They didn't like him. They were trying to get rid of him. So in John chapter 8, there's one of these interactions going on between Jesus and the Pharisees. And they were claiming to be sons of Abraham and to be on the side of the one true God. But at the same time, they didn't realize it, sadly, but they're arguing with the Son of God, God himself. And so in John 8:42 through 47, this is how Jesus responds to them. Jesus said to them, "If God were your father, you would love me, for I came from God and now am here. I have not come on my own, but he sent me. Why is my language not clear to you? Because you are unable to hear what I say. You belong to your father, the devil, and you want to carry out your father's desire." So, yeah, they're claiming to be associated with the one true God, and he says,
"Your dad is the devil.
You belong to your father, the devil."
Wow.
I mean, he's throwing down. I love it. Let's see. He continues talking about the devil. He was a murderer from the beginning, not holding to the truth, for there is no truth in him. When he lies, he speaks his native language, for he is a liar and the father of lies. Yet because I tell you the truth, you do not believe me. Can any of you prove me guilty of sin? If I'm telling the truth, why don't you believe me? He who belongs to God hears what God says. The reason you do not hear is that you do not belong to God. Mic drop.
Yeah.
So what we're saying, and we're getting, a lot of this from the Bible, but if you want to know what's true, get in line, get yourself in alignment with Jesus, and he is truth. And if you're not in alignment with Jesus, then you may be in alignment with the devil, and then you're going to be more in alignment with lies, or easier believing lies. So some heavy stuff, but really, really important and true. And hey, if you're on the right side of this, it's actually pretty cool.
Here are some quotes. We found some quotes regarding truth and lies. A lot of people have had things to say about this. Albert Einstein said, "Whoever is careless with the truth in small matters cannot be trusted with important matters." I like that.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. This one says, "The truth is the truth, even if no one believes it. And a lie is a lie, even if everyone believes it."
Mm-hmm. That's so hard to remember.
I love that one.
Yeah.
That was actually in the movie Fly Me to the Moon, which we saw last year.
Yep, good movie.
It was a really good movie.
We recommend it.
I looked up that quote, and what I saw was unknown as to who said it originally. The character of Kelly Jones, played by Scarlett Johansson, said it in Fly Me to the Moon most recently.
Yeah, but it's good. One of the quotes from Aesop, the Greek. Did I say that right?
I think so.
Yeah, okay.
Aesop's Fables.
Sounded weird when I said it. Said, "A liar will not be believed, even when he speaks the truth," which just reminds me of the story, The Boy Who Cried Wolf, of course, right? He lies and lies and lies, and then no one will believe him because that's who he is. So it didn't matter that he was telling the truth. No one would believe him.
Right. Here's another one from Mark Twain. "The principal difference between a cat and a lie is that the cat only has 9 lives." So,
okay. Explain that one.
Explain that one?
Yeah. Say it again.
Because a lie takes on a life of its own.
Okay. Yeah.
Actually, it goes hand in hand with the next one. Why don't you read the next one, and we'll kind of talk about them just for a second.
Okay, this is from Alexander Pope, an English poet from the early 18th century. And he said, "He who tells a lie is not sensible of how great a task he undertakes, for he must be forced to invent 20 more to maintain that one."
Right.
That is true.
So you tell a lie, and then you got to tell another one, and it just kind of goes on and on and on and on, and it never stops.
Yeah.
And so I think that was kind of what Mark Twain was referring to, that difference between a cat and a lie is a cat only has 9 lives, but a lie just seems to go on and on and on and on.
Like a surprise birthday party.
Can't even kill it
Yeah.
at some point.
No surprises. All right. And I think you want to do the next one. I think it's one of your favorites.
Oh, Sir Winston Churchill. He said, "A lie gets halfway around the world before the truth has a chance to get its pants on."
I love that one.
I love that personification there.
All right. In John 8, verses 31 through 32, to the Jews who had believed him, Jesus said, "If you hold to my teaching, you are really my disciples. Then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free."
Yeah.
I love that.
That's good. And so then David Foster Wallace, an American writer, using that, said, "The truth will set you free, but not until it's finished with you."
Yeah.
And so
sometimes you gotta, if you're gonna tell the truth, you gotta make amends. Maybe you're coming clean and kind of confessing some of the lies you told. Maybe
sometimes the truth, aligning with the truth, isn't easy, and sometimes it comes with some hard things. But but eventually, if you do that, you will be set free.
Last one, Alfred Lloyd Tennyson said, "A lie which is half a truth is ever the blackest of lies." I think those are the hardest ones too, because they sound sort of right. You're like, no, I think that's, is that right? It's just got a little something in there that you're thinking, no, that could be true.
Yeah.
But again, like, you spend enough time around the truth, it just won't settle well with you. Something sounds off, even if you don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Something in your gut says that's not right.
Right.
So
that's good. Well, I want to talk just for a minute about having a paradigm, which of course is a perspective or a specific belief, having a paradigm which might not be correct, but you think it is for a long time, and then it gets challenged, and you have to figure out what you're going to do with that. So I'll give you an example from my life. In 2013, we had the privilege of helping my parents go to Israel for their 50th anniversary, which was amazing.
So amazing.
It was great. And we learned a lot, but we also took some classes from Christy McClellan before we went to try to learn more about Jewish culture and kind of that time in history.
Again, so amazing.
We learned so much.
Yeah.
During that time, Christy had the audacity,
Complete audacity.
to tell us that Jesus was probably not born in a wooden barn type structure. And I didn't say anything, but I wanted to tell her, look, I'm in my, how old was I then? I was like mid to late 40s. And my entire life, every time Christmas comes around, hello, nativity scenes, we see that, Mary, Joseph, baby Jesus.
I mean, we've been in the plays.
Shepherds, the wise men, been in the plays, gone to all the church services, and there's always a little half wooden barn, and that's where Jesus was born. And he was laid in a manger, which I happen to know is a feeding trough for animals. So where else would it be?
Yeah.
And
the little crisscross box made out of wood.
Furthermore, I was like, girl, just stop. Joseph, Jesus' stepfather, who helped raise him, was not really a carpenter by the same definition that we would use in America.
You got to stop.
Like, is that not what the Bible says? Well, that is what we call an unfortunate interpretation. Because the Greek word for Joseph's occupation was tekton, which means builder. So here are some facts about Israel that I didn't know until we took this class. And first of all, there's hardly any wood in Israel. There are hardly any trees in Israel. There are some.
Certainly not compared to here.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I've heard that before America was really developed, a squirrel could start in a tree on the Atlantic coast and go to the Mississippi River without touching the ground.
Is that true?
I think it's true. I mean,
that's amazing.
Yeah. From what I've heard, that's true. Israel is not like that. Israel is desert and semi-desert, and what they have a lot of in Israel are rocks.
A lot of rocks.
They do not have a lot of trees.
Yeah.
They do not have a lot of wood. So what a tekton is a builder. And builders in Israel, especially in that time, mostly worked with stones and some wood, probably some wood. But instead of him being a carpenter in the sense that we think of today, it was different. And so, do you know where Jesus probably was born? He probably was born in a cave. Are you kidding me? I mean, not that that's even a problem really, except that why do we not know that? Why do we have to take a specialized class? And I'm thinking, like, all the pastors that went to Bible school and all the people that are manufacturing things to, for people to put out at Christmas time, like, I don't know.
And would that be, that's not a lie, right? Do you think they're lying to you about that?
Well,
or
I mean, we had to take a special class and go to Israel to kind of see all of that and to make it make sense. So I'll stop making such a big deal about how blown away I was. And at some point, you're going to be seeing a picture of the nativity scene that we brought back from Israel that reflects the cave type setting. But there are a lot of low caves just kind of in the hills, Bethlehem, around that area, kind of rolling hills. It's not very flat, but there are also a lot of natural caves there. And what the people would do a lot of times is build a house on top of a cave. and they would live in the house. And when the animals needed shelter, because hello, there's not that much wood to build a structure, the animals would go into a cave and they'd be protected from the elements. So makes total sense. I just didn't know that. Also, the manger, it is called a manger, but because there's not that much wood, and in a lot of these caves, what they would do is chisel out kind of a depression in the side of the cave that they could then throw the hay in there, and the animals would eat out of that. But Jesus was probably born in a cave and laid in a hollowed out part of a cave wall. Right? My mind is completely blown. So the reason I tell you all that, and our nativity scene, by the way, I just, when I found it, I had to get it because it is made out of a piece of olive wood. Even though there's not that much wood in Israel, there are some olive trees, and it's made out of a piece of olive wood from Israel and kind of hollowed out to make it look like a cave.
And you bought it in Bethlehem.
I bought it in Bethlehem.
Yeah,
and
that
so
was fun.
I had to come to a point where I said, do I want to know the truth and embrace the truth, or do I feel like I can't handle the emotional disturbance of knowing that a paradigm I've had for 45 plus years is wrong? And so, maybe it seems silly. Maybe it seems like, you went on a long time about the nativity thing and Jesus born in a cave, but
it's the idea of it.
It's the idea of it. And I just think that when we're talking about truth, there's going to come a time in everyone's life when there's something that you believed was true and it was important to you, and you find out maybe it's not. And you have to kind of decide, am I going to investigate this? Am I going to find out if what I thought was true, or if this new information is true? And if the new information is true, and maybe I don't even like it as much, maybe it's not as romantic, maybe it's not as appealing, maybe it doesn't go with my other beliefs, and then I'm forced to try to find out more information, and it just kind of is a piece of dynamite under the whole foundation of what I think about a certain part of life. That's hard.
That's very unsettling.
That's hard. But I decided that I wanted to know the truth more than I wanted to hold on to that wooden barn, because it really doesn't matter where Jesus was born, just that he was born, that he was and is the Son of God, that he did come to earth to tell us who his Father is, and to die for our sins and give us the opportunity to be forgiven for our sins if we're willing to accept that we need that forgiveness, and then to reach out and take that free gift. That's what matters. And that part I had right, and that part I still cling to. And now I own a cave type nativity scene. So, it's okay. It's okay. And so you may encounter some earth-shaking information that really makes
you uncomfortable
about some of your beliefs. And I just want to encourage you to look for the truth and to find the truth, and that the truth is worth hanging on to.
I love it.
So
I think that we are ready to expose our lies.
Yep.
And to talk about our two truths and a lie. Can I ask you yours first?
Sure.
All right, David, true or false? You said you went to Paris, France, but you didn't see the Eiffel Tower. True or false?
That's true. And I would not have chosen, really, to go to Paris and not seen the Eiffel Tower, except, it was on our trip to Israel. There was a layover in Paris, and that's a whole story for another time. But we just kind of scraped and saved and all kinds of things in order to pay for that trip. But we did not have time to take an extra day or 2 or 5 or whatever to go see France. So we never left the airport. And I don't know if you've ever flown into the airport in France, but was it the Charles de Gaulle airport. Anyway, where we were, we saw a little bit of the French countryside. We couldn't see any of Paris, and we did not see the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah. I mean, it was so dark, middle of the night.
It wasn't the middle of the night.
Was to me. I hadn't slept much. We could talk about that trip later.
I could see. I just couldn't see the Eiffel Tower.
All right, number 2, true or false? You said, I graduated 3rd in my class in high school.
I did graduate 3rd.
Congratulations. Nice.
Thank
nice.
you. Yeah.
All right, well, then this has to be false. You said, I was lead singer and rhythm guitar player in a rock band in the 80s.
It's actually like a half truth.
Oh, the blackest of lies. Okay, all right. Explain yourself.
I was the lead singer of a rock band in the 80s.
But
not throughout the entire 80s.
Right.
It was like 18 months, but I was the lead singer for a hot minute. But I never even learned how to play guitar. I was not a guitar player.
So therein lies our lie.
Therein lies the lie.
All right.
All right. Well, what about you?
Okay.
Well, let's just get this out of the way. You said that you graduated 3rd in your class from high school. I graduated
did.
3rd. You couldn't have graduated 3rd.
I also graduated 3rd in my class in high school.
Yeah, I already knew that.
Congratulations, though.
Yeah. Well, you said I copied from you, and I'm older, so you actually graduated after I did. So technically, you copied after me.
Okay.
Even though we didn't know each other.
Yeah,
It was
I'm sure.
different high schools.
Okay. No competitions here.
No. At all. Nope. I have never been pulled over by a policeman.
I have never been pulled over by a policeman. My driving is impeccable.
That's disgusting.
I did blow through a blockade one time, totally on accident. I'm thinking, if you don't want me to blow through there, build a better blockade.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't know. But I didn't get pulled over. He couldn't catch me. So, no. There was unfortunate misunderstanding, and I quickly turned around and got out of there.
Yeah.
But I didn't get pulled over. So
I was there. It was interesting.
Were you in the car that day?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I kind of blocked all that out.
I would have said the reason you've never been pulled over is because you don't drive the speed limit. But what I mean by that is when we go on a trip, if I'm driving, we get there way too fast. And if you're driving, we get there way too slow.
Have you ever been pulled over?
So your other statement.
Okay.
You did grow up in Michigan.
I did.
Yeah.
I did, but not on a farm. We lived out in the country a little bit. There were farms everywhere. There was farmland right around my property, but I personally did not grow up on a farm. That is a lie.
Yep. I've seen the childhood home.
Yep.
I mean, it's so rural Michigan. It's like the map looks like a piece of graph paper.
Yep.
It's like square mile, square mile, square mile. And yeah, a lot of farmland, but not that house.
Not that house.
Okay.
So,
well,
yeah, so that's it. 2 truths and a lie. And congrats on your high academics.
You too. So we've had a lot of fun talking about truth, but there's more, and we want to talk a little bit more. We talked a lot about the definitions. We talked a little bit about how to tell the truth or what to do with the truth when you find it. But we think there's more, and we're going to talk about that a little more next time. So we hope you'll join us for How Do I Know What's True Part 2. But another quick announcement. I don't think these are going to be up when this posts because we're just trying like crazy to get everything on the channel that we can. But if you go to our channel, there's going to be a playlist for podcasts, and within the next day or two, there should be playlists for movie previews and movie post views. And what I'm trying to tell you is we love movies and we go see them all the time, and we're going to start reviewing them. And so for every movie, there's going to be a preview, which is a short explanation of the plot without spoilers and some content warnings. And it's just so you can make a good decision. Do I want to see this movie or not? The post view, if you see the movie and you're like, oh, I want to hear people talk about it more. I didn't understand this part, or I thought this was crazy, or this was cool, or whatever, then that's what we do on the post view. Those are longer and they involve spoilers.
All the spoilers.
Yeah, but those are those are coming soon to the channel. So I just want you to be aware and looking out for that, especially if you're thinking about going to the movies. We're going to review as many as we can and be ready to come check it out.
In the meantime, though, get ready for our next episode. How do I know what's true? Part 2. We'll see you then.
All right. For now, we're David and Hillary. Thanks.
Bye.